I suppose the natural question is, Ali, did he deserve it?
Yes, he did. And I'm not going to sit here and make an argument against Virgil van Dijk because that would be idiotic. So I'm only going to talk about Lionel Messi and the things that he was able to do last season. Here's the thing. We cannot hold the standard of Lionel Messi against him. If you consider of all the great years and great seasons that Lionel Messi has had, I can make the argument that his performance over the course of the last year became even more impressive given the fact that nobody else in Barcelona was producing the way that they were expected to. So Luis Suarez had a down year. Dembele is injured. They're not available. Every single goal seemingly that Lionel Messi scored somehow was an important goal for Barcelona. It was needed. It was not a surplus. It was not something that they could have done without. No. Every performance by Lionel Messi had an importance to it, and therefore Barcelona needed Lionel Messi more than ever, just like they do now. They're as Messi-dependent as they've ever been, and his performances continue to be great week in and week out.
I have no problem with Messi winning it. You know, personally, I think we should get rid of this and just say who's the best player in the world, and then give it to them, and he would get it.
Right.
But I don't believe this is how this should be looked at. For me, it should be about who's made the biggest difference in their teams in the last 12 months. And that's how I think, because of that reason, Virgil van Dijk should have won it. So it all depends on what criteria you're coming from, you know.
But Barca isn't winning La Liga without Messi.
Right. And Liverpool's not winning the Champions League without Van Dijk. So you can kind of go back and forward with all these things. But you know what? There's really not a wrong answer. And for me, Messi is the best player in the world. You know, if I'm picking a world team right now, he's first on my list.
Can I ask you a pub question?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. If you swap the two, do they still win their respective trophies?
No. Liverpool don't win the Champions League without Virgil van Dijk.
Liverpool win it with Messi, though, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, if Messi was... Don't take this the wrong way.
Yep.
If Messi was just that galaxy better than everybody, then Barcelona would have won it. So it's not about always scoring goals. Because Barcelona scored plenty of goals. In fact, they scored 3 against Liverpool.
Well, Messi.
Messi did, and it still wasn't enough. So it's not... it's just not straightforward. It's not.
I'll answer your question. Liverpool wins, and their chances of winning are higher with Lionel Messi playing for Liverpool than Barcelona playing with Virgil van Dijk. As I just mentioned, anything in the attack that was worth anything for Barcelona over the last year, Lionel Messi was involved in it, and it was a need. It was dependent upon whatever he did. On the ball, without the ball, scoring the goals, setting somebody else up, because there was no help coming from anywhere else on that field. Let's not forget that when Barcelona made a choice to bring a player that could potentially play up top for them in case that Luis Suarez got injured, that choice was Boateng. Kevin Prince, Boateng. That's what at one point Lionel Messi was playing as his number 9. Arturo Vidal, whatever is left of him in the midfield. Sergio Busquets, whatever is left of him in the midfield. There was no productivity coming from behind. There was no productivity ahead of him. So it was really Lionel Messi or nothing else. And it's what we keep saying time and time again. So when Stevie says who was more important to their team, man, you remove Lionel Messi from whatever Barcelona was last year, and they're not winning anything.
Julien Laurent is with us. What do you make of all this, Jules?
I get both arguments. I think Virgil van Dijk can be disappointed, rightly so, tonight not to have won it. I think the problem he had is that in a way he was victim of being part of the best team in the world right now, which means that in his current team, a lot of other players had votes. Sadio Mane had votes, and Van Dijk had to share, in a way, votes with him, and he finished 4th. Bobby Firmino had votes, Mo Salah had some votes, Trent Alexander had some votes, and you can go on and on. In this Barcelona team, Lionel Messi had all the votes because he was the only one. And like Ali said, he carried that team more than Van Dijk carried his team. Van Dijk made Liverpool better, but he didn't carry Liverpool in the way that Messi carried that Barca team to a certain level of height. And also Argentina in the Copa America, even if they lost in the semi-final, he also carried that team by himself. And I think that there's a point where you also understand why Messi got it, because he's the greatest of all time, and also because he's carrying his teams like no one else does in the world.
Jules, this is the 6th time that he's won it. That is unprecedented. Just put into historical context what this means.
Well, I think people have to understand, even if you don't like the Ballon d'Or, it means a lot to players to win it. And 10 years ago, almost to the day, because it was actually on Sunday 10 years ago that Messi won his first ever Ballon d'Or, which means that in those 10 years he's won 6, which is pretty incredible. And again, you know, as Cristiano Ronaldo not being there, he would have won far more, but it's just celebrates the incredible talent and the gift of the footballing gods that Messi has, because he's been not just so good, but so consistent in his greatness as well, which is why he was also rewarded tonight in Paris with his 6th Ballon d'Or. Is that never ever, even not Ronaldo himself and not all the other greats, have been able to be that consistent.
It's going to be a bit rubbish when he goes, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's just like watching yesterday's game. He was the whole reason that match stood out. His goal late on against Atleti give Barca the win, and he's done that so many times. And obviously you look at the next generation and the likes of Kylian Mbappe is being talked about, but he can't hold a torch to what Messi has done so far.
There was supposed to be a guy who was going to take that torch.
Yes.
And that was supposed to be Neymar. And he has taken a step back to where he's now part of the group that was farther behind from Messi and Ronaldo than the group that was closer to Messi and Ronaldo. And so Neymar clearly is not the answer and has not been able to produce when needed and when you would expect it for him to be that guy. So he hasn't been that. So then comes Kylian Mbappe. And with Mbappe, you're banking on the continued growth and maturation of a player that's still very young.
Yeah.
And yet you think, man, for the next 10 years, can he be what Ronaldo and Messi have been? But that is such an unfair and crazy standard to try to be measured against.
Look at these stats.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. When you look at the numbers, it's insane. And so therefore, is Mbappe going to do this? Well, and the answer to that question is nobody's going to do this.
Yeah.
Not for a while, not in our lifetime. We just don't see this. We've gotten used to Messi scoring goals every weekend. And when he's gone, as you just mentioned, he leaves a huge, huge void.
Stevie, you played with some really good players who had great seasons, great careers, but it's really the longevity, isn't it?
That's scary.
Just to do what Messi has done.
From a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's almost unfortunate that we're not... I was going to say we don't appreciate how good he is, because I think we do, but it won't be until he's gone then it'll really smack us right in the face. Because as you said, those stats are just... It's like somebody's made a mistake there. Can you go and check those? So it's not going to be until he's gone that actually you're going to then realise just how fantastic he is. Because Ali was right what he said earlier. It does, the fact he's so good kind of goes against him sometimes because, well, the first thing you said to us a couple of weeks ago was, well, he scored 50 goals in any other year would he have won it if it's been his first year?
Yeah.
And we say, well, no, 50 goals. As if 50 goals is like... But it is normal for him. And so a normal for him means that we don't go overboard.
That's it. Like, Jules, we grew up as like the first video game generation, and Messi is kind of the first real player that has taken what we did on the PlayStation and put it on the pitch consistently throughout the seasons. And we're obviously now going to be looking for another player to do that. But boy, that is a high bar that maybe no one will ever achieve again.
Yeah, I do wonder. I do actually wonder if someone, like Ali said, maybe not even in our lifetime, but maybe further down the years, if someone will be able one day to do similar things, similar exploits, similar numbers, similar kind of goals, where he can pretty much dribble past the whole opposition team and still score a goal. I mean, he's that good and the bar is that high that we're even wondering right now if anyone can come close to it. And Ronaldo tried really hard, and in a way he got very close to it, sometimes a bit better. I think overall, I would say that Messi is the greatest and Ronaldo is still below that. But it's just that one day he he won't be able to do it anymore. I mean, he's 32 now. How many more years does he have to carry that Barcelona team, who, by the way, almost to make life more difficult for Messi to show his greatness even more, have decided, you know what, we're going to recruit bad players or players who are always injured, and we're going to make it even more difficult for you to show your greatness to the world because you will have to carry us. Instead of actually trying to make that team better so Messi could get even better, it seems like they've made it even harder for him by lacking of planning for the last few years or rubbish managers or whatever, and yet he still does it. For how long? Maybe 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years maximum, maybe up to 35. But after that, there will be a point where his body, his mind will say, you know what, I've had enough now. I've been doing this for so long. It's time for me to go.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.